What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Tadella Talks. Today, we are going to be talking the end of Oak Street. So, yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Not a whole lot else I can tease you with. So, yeah, throw me on in the background, go do your laundry, do your dishes, get some food, or just watch me talk. And yeah, let's do this. Double clap. So, honestly, that was a solid movie. I'm not going to lie. It was a solid movie. Not the most amazing thing I've ever seen, but still, it was a solid movie. I think... Yeah, I liked it more than Jurassic World Rebirth because I actually attached to at least one character. You know, I didn't really give a fuck about any of the characters in that movie. I found them actively annoying actually for Rebirth. But yeah, so let's start with the good. Everyone said this. I've watched a few reviews on it, but literally everyone said this. Very Spielbergian, very 80s coded. The way I think about it is kind of like, sometimes movies will shoot digital, right? And then they'll scan that onto 35 millimeter film. That's kind of what it feels like, but with this movie, but in terms of decades. A movie shot in 2024, a 2026 movie, and then it was scanned like through the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was watching it and I was like, wow, this really does feel like an Amblin film, which is Steven Spielberg's production company. It had a certain whimsy in the score. Michael Giacchino, my GOAT composer, he was cooking up on the score. Back to back, by the way. Only 2 weeks apart, you drop in Spider-Man and End of Oak Street. Dude, fantastic score, in my opinion. Dude, like, especially the 80s thing, you really feel it in the first act. And people kind of hating on the first act, like it takes a while to get going, which, yeah, true. But the first act is low-key my favorite part of the movie, in the sense that it just feels so nice. It feels so joyful and wholesome. It feels real. You know, I really liked it. Like the kids, you know, seeing the cute girl and looking through the fence, and the kid with the bow and arrow, and them talking about being afraid of bullies and stuff like that. Like, just typical movie stuff, but I really like that. And also the kid actors were pretty good. The worst one was definitely the boy, for sure, Brian. But like, also attribute that to, he's just the youngest one. Like, it's not, yeah, acting isn't exactly easy. So, you know, I'm not going to fault him for that. Now, the visuals, I thought it looked really good, and it was shot on film. You could tell. Now, okay, hold on. I don't want to be too confident on that, honestly, but if it was shot on film, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, you can see the film grain, but there wasn't a whole lot of other tells. Like, it might be one of those things where they just either added a film grain overlay, or they shot it digitally and then scanned it onto film. That could be a possibility. I don't know, but yeah. And the directing was really good too. My favorite, I have two standout shots that I really loved. One of them was, and you see it in the trailer, it's at the end of the trailer. They're getting chased down the street by a T-Rex, basically. And, you know, you got Anne Hathaway with a gun shooting at it. So my favorite shot was where, like, it follows the dad, and he's, like, you know, getting his attention, and he runs across the street, and then the camera pulls back, and then Anne Hathaway runs in with the gun, and then shoots at it, and then the camera pulls back even more, and it was all in one take. And there was a first half to that shot that I'm not remembering right now, but I was like, oh my god, that shot went on way longer than I expected. And Anne Hathaway, obviously, like, very much the standout, very much the best one here. And Ewan McGregor, he's keeping up with her. You know what I'm saying? Playing the more, not meek, I guess. The very positive dad. You know, keeping the spirits light. I really like that. Also, I am low-key Denise. I'm not gonna lie. The mom, Anne Hathaway's character, I'm low-key her. I ain't gonna lie, bro. And I'll get into that in a second. And also another positive, dinos everywhere, bro. Like, they did so many wide shots in this movie and just establishing shots, but like, they shot this pretty wide just in general, right? And it's really cool because you see the environment. You see everything around them. Like, when they're driving through the neighborhood, you see people getting their face eaten by a dinosaur, and you just see, like, random little ones running across the street or something like that. There's literally dinosaurs everywhere. Everywhere you look in the frame, there's something to find. Like, if you watch it again, you'll find something different, you know? And then another one, the silent sound design when the second light time travel thing hits, right? And then the sound there's like a pop. You know, there's a pop, and that's when they're like, oh my gosh, it feels like my ears pop. Like, it was really good sound design. Yeah. And also, another thing about the sound design I really liked is how once they got into the past, all that extra noise that might have been there, and also the score drowned out way more too. It was just very silent, because that's how it would have sounded back in the day, 200 million years ago. You know what I'm saying? There were no cars, no factories, no pollution, no nothing. Just nothing. And I thought that was represented really well in the sound design. The only problem is it didn't work fully without the music, because there were a lot of scenes where they would, be there. It would try to be like a tense scene, but sometimes it just didn't work because there was a lack of music. It was kind of just dead silent in the environment, other than like the dialogue or whatever, or the sounds of the creatures. But it wasn't that big of a nitpick for me. Now they were pushing the PG-13, bro. They were pushing the PG-13. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, during this one scene, I was like, this is PG-13? 2 scenes, actually. There's 2 of those. And I was like, okay, I guess, bro. And also, dude, Anne Hathaway, rifle. My wife. Literally my wife. What are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about, bro? And also another thing, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I was watching this movie and I was like, oh my God, this movie hates its characters, bro. They hate these characters so much. They were putting them through hell and back. God damn. Okay, so let's move on to the mid. Some of the characters, specifically the son and the daughter, I didn't really care about them that much. Like, they were cool, but like they didn't give them that much to do in terms of a story arc or anything like that. But yeah, there were production issues that I'm aware of behind the scenes of this movie, and there were reshoots and stuff. That's why, because it like I said, it was shot in 2024. So I figure it was originally supposed to come out last year. And the original title was Flowervale Street. And I'll get into that at the end. But yeah. And then another mid thing, it was a little repetitive in some things, where it's like, specifically with the sequences of, involving a creature with the family. And mainly because they had back-to-back scenes of the T-Rex chasing them through the street, and it's like they're all talking by this house, and then the T-Rex is coming up behind them and nobody hears it, which is also very stupid. They definitely would have heard that. And then there's another one, like literally like 10 minutes later, and it's a big ass snake, silently sneaking through the house, and it's just an even longer sequence. 10 sequence, yeah, sure, but like, it was just a little repetitive for me personally. And then another one, some of the editing choices were interesting. I wrote this down. I don't remember exactly what I was referring to, but just know that I thought it. And then, yeah, some of the acting was a little choppy, but it's kids, bro. What are you gonna do? And then the mid thing, I didn't love the ending. I like that they ended it with a book. The book, like, called The End of Oak Street, and it was the story that Anne Hathaway had been trying to crack for a long time, and she finally got it. So she finally wrote her book, and I really like that. That was a really cool thing. But the whole time travel thing, Back to the Future, and then getting the dad, like a different version of the dad. But yeah, it wasn't like I didn't hate it, but it was okay. It was a solid ending. And then, dude, like, it had a very weird mishmashing of tone. I've heard people say where it's like, I couldn't tell if I was supposed to be laughing or horrified, because it could kind of go either way. And I wish I could think of some specific moments, but it's kind of just the whole movie, where it's like, it has a certain tone of whimsy and joy a little bit, and it's a little goofy, but then at the same time, it'll have like the most horrendous thing you've ever seen happen to a person from a dinosaur. I'm like, what the fuck? Bro. But yeah, and now let's get on to the bad. There was a few very questionable shots of the dog where it was completely CG, specifically in the moment where Starbuck comes and saves Brian from the pterodactyl. But I get it. It happens. It was only an $80 million budget too, which, by the way, very good looking for all the VFX that it has. For $80 million budget, it looks very good, even like with all the reshoots and stuff. There's one scene where Ewan McGregor is having a conversation with Anne Hathaway, I think. But it's basically just like a basic conversation scene, and then it's going back and forth, right? And then you cut to a shot of Ewan McGregor, and then it's very obvious that he's on a green screen. And I figured that was part of the reshoots that happened. So yeah, but like it's not even that bad. Now, the sledgehammer. What the fuck? Ain't no damn way a sledgehammer is knocking out a T-Rex like that. I know it's not an actual T-Rex, but I don't care to look it up. I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, like it was kind of tough, I guess, a little bit. Him finally standing up for himself, but then he gets eaten. He gets his leg taken off, and then he gets eaten. Crazy moment, by the way. I don't know if I said that before. Just wanted to reiterate if I did. Crazy moment. Okay. Another stupid thing. the snake in the house, right? Anne Hathaway's looking at the snake, fat ass snake going all the way up the stairs, and she takes her sweet time to start stabbing it. Oh my God, dude. Like she's looking at it, she's like, I'm like, nigga, grab the knife, start go. Oh my gosh, and she just kept stabbing the same spot. Climb up the back of this snake and drag the knife down, cut it open. That is vulgar and violent. Oh my gosh. And it is PG-13, so yeah. Another one. These characters' lack of spatial awareness, genuinely insane. Genuinely insane, bro. Like, actually, and they made some stupid ass decisions. For example, the kid, Brian, sees Starbuck, his dog, out in the backyard getting chased by a dinosaur or some shit. And I'm like, okay, valid to go chase after him. Not valid to leave the house after you spent the whole day boarding it up, seeing people, your neighbors, get eaten, and you're like, my dog! I get it. Dog's a man's best friend. And Starbuck is low-key kind of a goat. I'm not gonna lie. But there's dinosaurs! You were 200 million years in the past, and you're like, let me go outside. Let me leave the house. Gee, oh my gosh. And then another one, the bully subplot. The bully subplot. Stupid. The bike chase was horrible. Okay. All right, hold on. I'm hating so hard. The bike chase was just bad. I'm not gonna lie. The bike chase, I couldn't take it seriously. Because, what are they called? Stole My Line with Fireside Discussions. They're a good channel. I like them. They were saying how the kid, like the bully, was way too big for the bikes. And it was just kind of funny. Wholeheartedly agree. Because he would be going on that bike and go like back and forth, like. But yeah, it's not that big of a deal though. No. It would have been fine if they left it there. Then randomly in the movie, Brian just gets attacked by this dude. And then the kid who Brian like cut the bike line to, I think the brake line on his bike, and then I broke his arm. And then the brother's trying to get revenge for that on Brian, right? Like the brother, he's beating the piss out of him, right? And the kid with the broken arm, he's like, stop. And I figured they lost their parents, so they're kind of tweaking out a little bit. Once again, questionable acting. But dude. And then he finally realizes what he was doing, and then like he was choking this kid. He was gonna kill Brian. Mind you, he was probably like 10 years old, this kid. And then the other dude choking him is probably like 17 at the very most. Trying to kill this kid over a broken arm. I don't even remember if it was a valid reason that he cut the line, but still. And also, the pterodactyls above the roof, they would have done something. They killed the fuck out of their neighbor. That was really funny. It was like a very horrifying, gruesome, tragic, but weirdly funny scene at the same time. But see, that's what I'm talking about. These tones, they don't, it just can't pick a lane. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the pterodactyls, when they're all trying to jump into the portal. By the way, Brian should have made that. There's absolutely no reason he shouldn't have made that. Oh my God, dude. He should have made the jump. I think it was funny that he missed. But still, yeah. And then here are some standout scenes that I wanted to talk about. For one thing, the death of the dad. And then right after that, they're all crying, walking down the road. And Brian, he keeps going, Mom. And then she yells at him like, yeah, kid, shut the fuck up. Her husband and father of her children just died. I get your dad just died. But you need to shut up and read the room. The street. Read the street, bro. Read the vibe. Shut up, Brian. Damn. Okay, another one. This movie low-key horny as hell. I'm not gonna lie. Because we saw dinosaur back shots in this movie. And they took a Polaroid picture in front of it, which was kind of wholesome in the end because she ended up reminiscing on that moment, you know. And then another one, Brian missing the portal, and then Starbuck comes and save him, comes in clutch. Should have died, by the way. That dog should have died. The pterodactyl would have ripped him apart in 2 seconds. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. He's the GOAT. And then also the argument scene between Denise and the dad. I can't remember his name for some reason. Very good argument scene. Well acted, just well written. You know what I'm saying? It felt real. You know, I really liked it. My only problem with it is that they cut away from it and went to the kid's perspective, which is fair, I guess. It totally makes sense. You know, every kid with divorced parents has, had that moment. But still, another one, the scene with the flooded basement. As a writer myself, if it was the 80s and my book was on a typewriter, and I'd been working on it for a long ass time, and then the basement gets flooded and all my paper and work is gone, oh, I'm crashing out too in my head. Maybe not like outwardly, but like you'll be able to see a shift in my demeanor. I'm not gonna lie. And Anne Hathaway played that really well, perfectly. The slowest running I've ever witnessed in cinema. Literally the inverse of Tom Cruise. Literally, oh my gosh, Tom Cruise not trying. Tom Cruise going for a jog would be 4 times faster than how fast the people were running in this movie. And not just that, they were running so slow that they had to adjust that for the dinosaurs. So the dinosaurs were gonna run as slow as shit. Dude, oh my God, that's just pissing me off. I'm like, why are we running at a glacial pace? There's a fucking dinosaur behind, there's a T-Rex behind you. Why are we running at a, oh my God, at an iceberg pace? But yeah, that's about it. I still really enjoyed this movie, honestly. Like, I was having so much fun in that first act. I was watching this, I was like, dude, this is movie magic, man. Like, low-key, because of the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a whole vibe. It was really cool. But by the end, definitely the third act is 100% the worst, obviously. Some contrivances and conveniences and logical gaps. You know, some gaps in logic, but it's whatever, bro. It's a turn your brain off movie, man. So yeah, in the end, I'd give The End of Oak Street a 6.5 out of 10 because I still really enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed my time, and I think, and also like I got to take my little brother to it because he wanted to go see it. So yeah, that was a fun experience. I really liked that. Yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you think about the movie if you've seen it in the comments. You know, like, comment, subscribe, gotta say the YouTube stuff. And yeah, and if you've made it this far in the video, comment slow runner. That's how I know you're a real one, all right? And yeah, that's about it for Tadell Talks today. See ya.